Namaram Vishnu Vidaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Iti Namani. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pachayani Devasesha Sunyavadi Praskajati Satari Navancha Kalpatarubhyasa Kripa Sandhuvi Vachapatitanam Bhavanebhyo Vishnudevi Namo Namo Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasani Gauravata Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Ancha Lila, Sri Krishna's Kaviraj quotes verses written by Raghunath Das Goswami called Gauranga Stava Kalpabriksha. Gauranga Stava Kalpabriksha, the desire tree of prayers to Lord Gauranga. Very beautiful prayers. In each chapter, Ancha Lila's 20 chapters, he quotes one or two. There are 10 verses actually in Gauranga Stava Kalpabriksha. So I'm going to read verse number 1 and just talk about it a little. So verse number 1. Katim Jusva Yasya Pramada Gajavaya Kila Jana Mukam Cha Shri Krishna Chandrapara Dadita Tatukara Nivaham Swa Kancha Swa Vanachalam Adurat Chandaya Chavascha Taranga Gauranga Hridayam Udaya Mamadayati. Each verse ends with this line, Gauranga Hridaya Udaya Mam Madayati. English translation, when everyone sees his graceful motions, they reject the graceful mad elephant. They revive the graceful mad elephant. And when they see his face, they spit at the moon. He is as splendid as a golden mountain, and the waves of his words are like nectar. The appearance of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu awakening in my heart maddens me. So this translation, of course, is by our esteemed godbrother, Krisakata Prabhu. I would see Krisakata Prabhu many times in Vrindavan. He passed away some years ago. And he did not like his translations to be edited. So I think you can probably understand that from the translation I read here. The English is not so. So anyhow, I'll explain it. When one sees the graceful motion of Lord Chaitanya, it is likened to a maddened, intoxicated elephant. So we can imagine now the elephant intoxicated and its graceful motions, its graceful movements. You have to try to imagine this. When one sees his face, one rejects the effulgence of the moon. A few days ago was Purnim. We saw the effulgence of the moon. I've been sitting actually next to one lake, seeing the moon, and the face on the moon, and the Khagosh, rabbit on the moon. So the moon is very beautiful. It's actually an Udipan for the residents of Vrindavan, especially the Gopis. It awakens romantic feelings, the moon. So one even rejects the brilliance of the moon on seeing the face of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Gauranga. His body is like molten gold. So we have to consider gold, and then when it's melted, it becomes even more beautiful, molten. And His words are like waves of nectar. May this Gauranga, may this Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu awaken within my heart. And having done this, I will become mad. Gauranga Hridayam Udayam Madayati. Madayati, mad, mam, me, Gauranga Hridaya. Hridaya, heart. So this is our aspiration, this is our prayer. Before attempting to even think of Lord Krishna, before attempting to even think of Vrindavan and the associates like Nanda Maharaj and Mother Yasoda and the cowherd boys, Balaram, one should first pray very humbly to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his associates. So first we try to capture within our mind the roop of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. When chanting Krishna's name, there's a gradual progression, and that is Nam, Roop, Gun, Leela. And this is like a lotus that opens up. Nam, Roop, Guna, Leela. So first we try to hear clearly Panchatattva mantra. Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhar, Shivasri Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Everyone?
Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhar, Shivasri Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
In the Chaitanya Charitamrita, there's a list of 130 associates of Lord Chaitanya. 90 associates are general, and 37 associates lived in Jagannath Puri, and then 3 associates lived in Benares. Of course, there's many more, hundreds and hundreds, thousands, but this 130 are mentioned, and their names are given also in chapter 10, Adi Leela. So we meditate at least on the 5 Panchatattva members. We try to think of Lord Chaitanya. It can be in the bank of the Ganges. It can be on the altar in Laneja, Nitai Gaurahari. It can be in Sridhar Mayapur. Beautiful deities, Panchatattva. Some favorite picture of ours of Lord Chaitanya dancing with Lord Nityananda. If we've been to Srivasangam, we can think of Lord Chaitanya there, especially Gambhira in Jagannath Puri. This is the cave where Lord Chaitanya lived for some 18 years. And he would associate with Shvasrup Damodar and Ramananda Roy, Kashishvara, Govinda, Balabhadra Bhattacharya, Ramai, Nandai, Chuktaharidas, Badharidas, and many others. So we try, when we're chanting Krishna's name, we start by chanting Panchatattva mantra, and then we chant Krishna's holy name. We try to conceive of Lord Chaitanya, not imagine, but as we see him in the pictures which are presented in the BPT literatures, as we see him in the deity form, Lord Chaitanya, golden complexion, we try to imagine the sound of his voice, very alluring, very attractive. And then, what is he doing? Chanting Krishna's holy name. Lord Chaitanya actually didn't really preach much. He spoke something to Ramananda Roy, it's chapter 8, Madhya Lila. He spoke something to Sanatana Goswami, 4 chapters in Madhya Lila. But mostly he chanted and danced and encouraged the conditioned souls to do the same. We, of course, in ISKCON, we do preach. We try to preach. Bhagavad Gita, seminar courses, this and that. So we follow the example that Prabhupada gave us. Prabhupada emphasized this preaching to devotees and to non-devotees. And of course, Food for Life and Harinam, etc. We just follow the example that Srila Prabhupada gave us. So when chanting, try to conceive of this form of Lord Chaitanya, the Nityananda, or really technically we should start with Lord Nityananda and then go to Lord Chaitanya. It's described in Chaitanya Charitamrita. By the mercy of Lord Nityananda, one gets the mercy of Rup Sanatana Ashraya, the shelter of Rupan Goswami. One attains Vrindavan, Anila Shri Vrindavan Dham, by the mercy of Lord Nityananda. Mam Pratishta Adama, Dila Shri Rupa Charan. So Nityananda, then Lord Chaitanya. Some of us may have gone to Eka Chakra, so we're very fortunate and blessed. Eka Chakra, a very holy place. So meditate, pray to Lord Nityananda, Lord Chaitanya, Advaita, Garadha, Shrivas. These are the associates, eternal associates of Lord Chaitanya. And then try to chant. Not Nama Parad. Let us aspire for Nama Bas. Shuddhanam may be a little too much for us, but at least Nama Bas. This means there may be question of offenses, but we're trying our best to avoid them consciously. We really are trying to avoid committing any of the 10 offenses. Gradually this will come to Shuddhanam. But Shuddhanam is very advanced. Bhaktivinoda Thakur has given a definition of Shuddhanam, that when one begins to understand one's spiritual form or sarup, when one begins to understand one's eternal relationship with Krishna, which means one's Sthayi Bhav, then one progresses to Shuddhanam. Of course, there may be other definitions of Shuddhanam also. Many definitions, but this is one particular one that's given by Bhaktivinoda Thakur and Jayavadana. So let us pray to Lord Chaitanya, Lord Nityananda, Advaita, who appeared in Shantipur, had 6 sons, Garadha and his associates, Mamu Thakur, Shivananda Chakravarti, Shrivas, Shri Ram, Sri Nidhi, great devotee, Srila Haridas Thakur. And then chant Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So the next recording, I'll give you text number 2. And then gradually we'll go through them all. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Go Premanandi, Hari Hari Bol.